Welcome again, Libra. It's June 2017. I'm Dadhichi from astrology.com.au and I've got your horoscope here. Let's take a look at what's happening for you mid-year 2017. The exciting thing is your ruling planet Venus transiting through the 7th house of relationships and in very, very close proximity to Uranus, about to make contact with that planet on June 3rd is electric. And the interesting other astrological component of this contact is that Uranus rules your 5th house of love affairs. That's the sign of Aquarius. So here we see a direct contact between Venus, your ruler, which is naturally the planet of love, full of love as you are, 7th house, where these two planets are transiting, and Uranus ruling your 5th house of love affairs. So this is usually sudden, abrupt, unexpected. This could be romance that comes your way when you least expect it, even if you're in a relationship, because sometimes relationships wane a little bit, so it'll be a pleasant surprise for you. Also, there's what we call a trine aspect. It's a 120-degree aspect from Saturn coming from your 3rd house of communications. That's probably been stifling you and your relationships a little bit. When it's in that favorable counterpoint, it actually brings with it some sobering sorts of discussions, an element of stability to your relationship. So that's all good news for those of you that happen to be in relationship or married. Now also, Jupiter in your sun sign now, I just noticed here it's been retrograde right now, and that planet from the sign of Libra looks straight across at the sign of Aries, which is that 7th house. And it will go direct on June 9th. So if there's been some sort of backward trend where you haven't been able to make connection and you've been really wanting to grow the relationship, but it seems to have been stifled, then that's also an additional bit of good news for you in the first part of the month. The other phenomenon that we see is the full moon taking place in your 3rd house of communications. That takes place on the 9th. And that's also going to have an influence on this Venus and Uranus combination in your 7th house. It will be very, very near to Saturn. So the Moon-Saturn contacts can sometimes bring with them a little bit of sobriety. Moon for you is ruling your career sector. So there could be a bit of a serious overtone on that around the 9th and 10th. And later in the month, speaking of your career, we do see that the new moon, which is really always very, very telling, is going to take place in your 10th house of profession, the career sector itself, which it rules. Now, just prior to that, we see both Mars, which on the 5th moves into the career sector, the upper part of your horoscope. The Sun also is going to make a transition into this area. Now, why can't I? There it is. On the 21st, of course, the Sun moves there. So the 21st, Mars on the 5th. So it's going to precede the Sun. And then Mercury also will move into this part of your horoscope on the 21st. So the Sun and Mercury simultaneously move into this area. Then we see that new moon taking place. So there's a lot of energy, a lot of vitality. And the new moon usually indicates an opening out or a page refresh, if I could put it, maybe even a Control-Alt-Delete, if we want to use computing as an analogy. And that for some of you means moving on to greener pastures. At least the Mercury and Mars and Sun show us a stepping up of your communication, an intensification of your emails, your phone calls, anything that's associated with your work at this time is going to really take pride of place in your diary. Prior to that, I'm sort of jumping ahead a little. Right now you have Sun and Mars in your 9th house. This is the area of your horoscope relating to travel, long distance travels. It has to do with education, and Mars and Sun are not considered really good in the triangular positions. So these are legal matters, bureaucratic issues that can piss you off a little bit, excuse the French. Mercury also now in this 8th house of yours, which is research, then moves into the sign of Gemini, this 9th house, on the 7th. So the second week of the month may bring you in contact, and those communications we were talking about in your work later in the month are actually earlier in the month, more related to these things: educational pursuits, study, communications with long distance places. So it seems like a busy month for you, if I'm not mistaken. By the way, the Sun and Mars in your 10th house throughout the latter part of the month are what we call directionally very strong. This 10th house is considered a southern direction. So for some of you looking for work, looking for new types of employment, the southern direction is stronger for you. You have to be careful. It makes you very combative, and this could set you at odds with your boss. Nevertheless, the Sun and Mars give a commanding sort of attitude and the ability to lead, and this is often associated with some sort of promotion or additional sense of responsibility. Mind you, just before that happens, I say responsibility because Sun will move into a very intense opposition aspect to Saturn around the 15th. We see there are some other oppositions taking place there as well. Mercury opposite Saturn makes it hard for you to think clearly. That takes place on the 19th. So prior to all that good stuff opening out, you still have some challenges ahead for you during this month. Look forward to your company next month. Don't forget you can visit astrology.com.au Libra and find out more about the month in focus, the year. We've got another 6 months of 2017. I've got all of the ongoing transits there and what's likely to happen to you. And don't forget the daily readings as well. Look forward to your company next month. Bye-bye now.